Rise and Shine Rwanda is Thursday the 14th of May.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda.
We find out about how mathematics and sciences can help solve Africa's problems.
We meet an Army veteran who is getting us hooked on vegetables.
And we have the new releases and the cult classic in this week's movie review.
Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Isheja. Over the next hour, we'll bring you all the latest news, sports, and lifestyle headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are here in the studio with us. What's going on in the world of the money?
Well, in the money, I hit the farm, your favorite thing for me to do. I know you all love it. Yeah, so I got to learn. Exactly. Right. I got to learn about agribusiness in Rwanda and how it's doing. It's really good.
All right, Arnold, what's happening in the world of sports?
In the sports, it's Gerrard, Steven Gerrard. We're saying bye-bye to Steven Gerrard as Liverpool fans over this weekend. So we look at this Gerrard and I join you later for a small chat on Burundi.
Yes, but that's what's happening right now.
Wearing several hats today.
Yeah, he's the man.
Particularly from Makeda lifestyle.
Yes, you need to be there one day. All right, well, all that and more is still to come, but first, Rise and Shine story of the day.
The African Institute for Mathematical Sciences is a network of centers of excellence, including master's and PhD level training, teacher training, and research. It includes ICT, physics, financial mathematics, robotics, and much more. About 50 students a year per center come from 42 countries across Africa to learn a new innovative way of how to use mathematics to solve challenges across the continent. With 5 countries already on board, AIMS hopes to launch its 6th center here in Rwanda. Take a look. The African Institute for Mathematical Sciences is a network of centers of excellence. Master's and PhD level training, teacher training and research, AIMS has it all. The Institute's goal is to help Africa's transformation through mathematics and sciences.
You have a growing, dynamic, young continent. The next Einstein is going to come from that pool. It's a matter of probability, but that probability to me is a certainty. Second, the next Einstein is going to come from Africa because most of African brightest people, African young people, are curious. They're excited about knowledge. They want to learn, they want to know, they want to discover. And we have a leadership in Africa that has understood the relevance and the importance of science.
This includes ICT, physics, financial mathematics, and robotics, among many other things. With 50 students a year per center hailing from 42 countries across Africa, AIMS uses an innovative way and approach to help solve challenges across the continent.
Mathematical sciences is important because it has been, at the beginning, it has been the determining factor of what Europe witnessed as industrial revolution. Without mathematical sciences, you wouldn't have the Silicon Valley revolution. We have light today because at some point there has been breakthrough in the field of science, and particularly in mathematical sciences.
With South Africa, Senegal, Ghana, Cameroon, and Tanzania already on board, AIMS hopes to launch its 6th center here in Rwanda.
With the power of youth demographics on the continent, and with the hunger of young people for science, the next Einstein is going to come from the continent.
A promising initiative. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda. And joining us in studio now is Thierry Zomahoun, President and CEO of the African Institute of Mathematical Sciences. Welcome to the show, Thierry.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so when you first thought of implementing this center, you've done it in 5 countries now. What was the idea behind it to begin with?
The idea behind AIM's growth over the past decade is basically to lead the transformation of Africa scientifically, technologically, and economically. We want to enable Africa's brightest students to really be game changers and lead the development and transformation of the continent by providing them with the skills they need to really position themselves on the global market and in a Pan-African wise. The second thing that we set out to do from the very beginning is to bring Africa to the cutting edge of science. Africa cannot sustain its current growth, and Rwanda is one of the examples of doing extraordinarily very well in terms of economic growth. But if Rwanda wants to sustain its current growth, leapfrog its transformation, it has to develop homegrown scientific and technical talent, which is one of the raison d'etre of AIMS, what we've been doing. The third reason why we're doing this, and to your point, is to add value to the immense, vast resources that Africa has. Right now, you have many countries across Africa. Africa is endowed with massive natural resources. But what is happening? What you see happening is that we cannot transform our natural resources here. We cannot refine our oils here. We cannot transform, well, coffee. Rwanda might be doing something, but is that all we want? We cannot transform our cocoa on the continent. We have to ship them. And when we receive the chocolate back, it costs a lot of money. You cannot add value to the massive resources Africa is endowed with without training people capable of transforming those natural resources on the continent. And the best way in which you can do this is by enabling young Africans, providing them with technical skills to transform those natural resources. And when it comes to services like banking, technology, ICT, information, and health, you need people who have the technical skills. And the best way to strengthen technical skills is to invest in mathematical sciences, which is the backbone of modernity.
Now, how do you handpick the countries? You have centers in 5 countries now, Rwanda possibly the 6th country. What's specific about those countries that got your attention, that made you want to have an AIM center in those countries?
In the countries where we operate currently, one of the major criteria we look for is to find an environment which is peaceful. You cannot do science, great science, in a war-torn country. So that's #1 criteria. The second criteria we look for going into a country is that that country should have policies which are conducive for doing science and world-class science. And then the third criteria, we want to work with partners. We don't go into a country to compete with academia, with other academics, with other research scientists. We go into those countries because we want to work with the local academics. We want to work with national research scientific institutions and be able to do something at a national scale which is meaningful for the country. So those are the 3 criteria we look for. Now, if I have to say, in the case of Rwanda, Rwanda is a unique example. Rwanda is going to be something completely unique and bigger and more original than what we have experienced so far. We look for a 4th dimension by making the decision to go into Rwanda. That is a visionary leadership. Visionary leadership and pro-science state leadership. And your president, His Excellency, President Kagame, has shown the whole world and Africa that he's keen on leading the technological, innovative transformation of Rwanda and position his country as a Pan-African hub for harnessing science and technology for Africa's transformation. We buy into that vision. That's what we believe in. That's what we've been doing. And that criteria is key for us to be here. And I said it's unique. Unique because Rwanda is not just going to be another center of excellence. We come in here with a combination of offer, which will position Rwanda as home for the next generation of Africa's scientific transformation on a global stage. We're coming in with not only a center of excellence, which includes postgraduate training, cutting-edge research, linking up young, bright African scientists to industry, to government services. We're coming in with a very innovative and award-winning teacher training program, but we're also coming in to position Rwanda for Rwanda and Africa, by the way, for the next quantum revolution. You know that what you're using in this studio is based on digital revolution. This is going to be obsolete in a decade from now. You may no longer want to use these digital, by the way, you cannot use them. So the quantum revolution, where information technologies will be faster, billions-fold faster than what it is now, is what we want to prepare Rwanda and the whole continent for. So we're planning to set up in Africa the very first research institute specialized in quantum science and technologies. So this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that Rwanda case is unique. It's going to be original. It's going to be a game changer, not only for Rwanda, but particularly for the entire world.
Now, the selective process, I mean, when it comes to students who follow these classes, who are in those centers, I saw the numbers and the countries they originate from. It's about 42 countries, I believe. How's the process like? How do you handpick the students that actually go to those centers?
We have a very competitive and rigorous process of selection. The students apply via a unique portal. We have academic councils that compose of dignitaries from academia, world-class research scientists, great professors who know their business, who know what they're talking about. They look at the applications. And for example, this year we received roughly 3,000 applications for just 250 seats. It tells you about how serious this process is. Not everyone is going to get in. Only the best, the creme of the creme, are going to get in. So we've got three broad assessment criteria. Number one is academic excellence. We don't compromise excellence at AIMS. We believe that the next generation of African leaders and scientists or African entrepreneurs must be endowed with the skills that which are cutting edge, novel skills, authentic. And if we play with the academic excellence, you're not going to get a great generation of African leaders. The second broad assessment criteria is one that is not tangible, but still real. We look at the leadership potential of the student. If it's a Regis applying to be a student at AIMS, we'll look at your potential for leadership. Because what Africa needs today, if you look at your own country, let me divert a little bit. How far you guys have come in just 2 decades to be where you are now. It's not about technique. It's not about technology. It's not about math. It's about leadership. Science plus leadership will transform this continent. So we look at the leadership potential. And the third broad assessment criteria is your commitment to this continent. We don't want to train people who will flee or leave the continent
and take their talents elsewhere,
and just go elsewhere, just go to the States and set up. We have nothing against that.
Right.
We favor brain circulation. You can go because Africa cannot do anything in isolation. But we look at the fundamental, the genuine commitment of young people in Africa to this continent. We want them to stay. We want them to be doing something that will really transform the continent.
Well, sir, we appreciate you being on the show. And I wasn't that great in mathematics, but this makes me want to, get into it and see how I can help my continent too. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll be right back after the break.
here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's business news, or as I call it, the money. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making us today. The central bank announced that the government has issued a 10-year bond worth 10 billion Rwandan francs to finance infrastructure projects. The bond will have a market-determined fixed coupon rate, and bids for it will be received between May 25th and 27th. This is part of the quarterly Treasury bond issuance program that was launched last year, which will help the government to raise funds for infrastructure development, while at the same time encouraging people to invest in the bonds. And Rwanda's share of global international travel is likely to decline in the coming years. This has been attributed to the recent wave of protests that have swept the neighboring Burundi, terror attacks in Kenya, as well as unpredictable political future of the region in the run-up of presidential elections between this year and 2017 in the 5 East African Community member states. This is said to bring about fear among tourists who would like to visit the region and will consequently affect the revenue that the region has been getting from tourism. Now, subsistence farming has been the most practiced type of farming in Rwanda, but with the government encouraging commercial farming and companies like the East African Exchange now in the picture, we're seeing more people selling their produce for money. And today we meet a man whom together with his colleagues are taking over Rwanda's agribusiness. Take a look.
After the 1994 genocide, many soldiers were injured and most left incapable of taking care of their basic needs. It is for this reason that after their victory, a special community was built by the government to help these veterans to still be able to live a normal life despite their injuries. John and his friends, however, did not let this setback slow them down as they went on to become farmers.
Ubuhinzi tubumazemo imyaka 3 cyane cyane bwo guhinga imboga mu buryo bwa kijyambere. Bwo guhinga mu greenhouse, duhingamo inyanya, tugahingamo pavuro, ariko z'ubwoko budasanzwe ku buryo ikiro cyabuzo kigura 1,800 muri alimentation.
Their competitive spirit pushed them even further, where they decided to look for clients in places that most small-scale farmers would be afraid to consider, and it paid off. Cooperative Humure did not just become successful, but are the vegetable distributors to some of Rwanda's leading supermarkets.
Nk'abarwiyemezamirimo, iyo umuntu atangiye akazi ikintu abanza gushaka ni isoko. Byabaye mahire aho twakomanze nubwo bari bafite abandi bakiriya, ariko bitewe n'ibihingwa twari dufite byiza bifite ireme, twabonye isoko vuba. Tukaba dukorana na Kumati kimwe na supermarket, I mean Simba supermarket. Nibo bantu dukorana nabo, tubagemurira igihe cya season tuba dufite ku mboga zacu, ukuyeho gusa ko demand yabo ihoraho. Ibyo tubagemurira n'ibiki ntabwo bihaza, gusa dufite ubushake n'icyizere yuko twakongera kugira ngo duhaze abakiriya bacu.
So what makes them so successful, you may wonder? Well, John says using modern farming methods and having fertile soils is what keeps them on top of their competition.
Icyambere dufite ubutaka bwiza ku buryo imboga dutera zose ziza zifite ireme, tugakoresha n'imiti aho ibikenewe. Ubuhinzi buragoye, hari ushobora kuinstara nka green zigera nko kuri 5 cyangwa 10 akabikora nk'igihe cy'umwaka umwe, ubutaka bukamunaniza akavamo. Ariko twebwe amahirwe dufite n'ubutaka bwiza kimwe n'ubushake.
With plans to grow an even wider range of vegetables that are not found in the country, they hope that soon they could start exporting their produce to the rest of the region. Karangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
And joining us now in studios in the Kezi John from the Ihumure Cooperative. Murakaza neza John muri Imuhwe. Thank you very much. Murakaza neza. None se mutubwire muri koperative yanyu ese muri abantu bangaye kandi mwiyemeje gute gufata icyemezo cyo kujya mu buhinzi mbese tubwire mu nshamake background yanyu.
Koperative yacu yitwa koperative Impuhwe igizwe n'abanyamuryango 52 twese tukaba turi abantu bamugariye ku rugamba batujwe mu karere ka Kicukiro. Dutangira iki gikorwa cy'ubuhinzi twagitangiye dusezerewe mu gisirikare, ari nabwo leta yatugiriye neza, leta yacu itugirira impuhwe kandi z'abanyarwanda bose yaje kudutuza kugira ngo natwe dusubire mu buzima busanzwe nk'abandi bose. Ubuzima bwari bugoranye, twari tumazemo imyaka bamwe irenga 10 turi mu bitaro kandi dufite imiryango hanze aho yari ikeneye kuba twayegera. Muri icyo gikorwa rero tumaze kugera gute kubona dutujwe, byabaye ngombwa kugira ngo dutekereze ku buzima nk'abandi banyarwanda bose kandi bagomba kwibeshaho bakanabaho neza kimwe no guteza igihugu cyacu imbere. Nibwo rero twegereye twakomanze imiryango hashobotse hose. Twatangiriye muri bakuru bacu, ubwo ndavuga muri Minadefu, tubatera ubutaka hariya wabonye barabudutiza, twegera akarere nabo hari ubufasha baduhaye, Minagiri yatubaye hafi, mbere abanyarwanda muri rusange dutangira dutyo ibikorwa by'ubuhinzi.
Ese ubu ngubu musarura ibingana gute ko nabonye muri gukoresha greenhouse enye ubu ngubu zonyine, ese amasaruro mukoramo angana gute kandi arahagije ku buryo twabonye ko ibiciro mugurishaho ntabwo ari byo abandi basanzwe bagurishiraho, mugurisha kuri menshi kandi ni byiza. Ese umusaruro mugira ungana gute kandi mbese mubasha kuramo amafaranga agaragara?
Amafaranga ntabwo ajya bamenshi, ntabwo ajya bamenshi ariko dukuramo twumva arayo. Nababwiye yuko ubu buhinzi tubumazemo imyaka igera kuri 3 ubu bwa kijyambere, ariko muri iyo myaka 3 ndumva buri sezo y'inyanya tuba duteye cyangwa izindi mboga tugerageza kubona umusaruro ungana na toni imwe muri buri greenhouse. Ni ukuvuga yuko zose tuzibonamo toni zigera kuri 3. Ku mafaranga hari ubwo umusaruro hari ubwo uza utandukanye, ariko range iba iri hagati ya 1,300,000, 1,300,500, ibintu biteye gutyo.
Ese mwatubwiye ko ubu ngubu murimo gukorana n'amasupermarket abiri ariyo Nakumatt na Simba. Ese marketing yanyu muyikora mute kwa mwabashe no kubona aba clients banini bageze aho ngaho, kandi murateganya ese kwagura ibikorwa byanyu mugakwana n'izindi supermarkets ziri mu gihugu wenda mukanajyana hanze y'igihugu?
Kubona isoko ntabwo byatugoye cyane, kuko icyambere kwamamaza ntabwo twigeze tubyinjiramo cyane bitewe n'umusaruro twari dufite muke, ariko bya bindi umuntu utangiye akazi iyo ugeze ku mukiriya kubaza sample y'ikintu umuzaniye. Ariko byiza cyane izo supermarket twagezemo zombi twabagezeho sample y'ibyo twejeje, barashima, ari nabwo badusabaga batwemerera kuba twakorana nabo. Kuva muri icyo gihe ndumva kugeza na n'ubu ukuyeho ko ikibazo tugira twavuga yuko tubateye guha bitewe n'ubuke bw'ibyo tweza. Ibyo bifuza ni byinshi, ariko abakeba bacu, abahinzi bagenzi bacu, ari byo babazanira ntibashime, ugasanga bifuza ibyacu bike, ariko twifuza kuba twakongeraho kugira ngo duhaze ayo masoko abiri dufite, tube twanarushaho twaguye ibikorwa tukabona green zirenzeho, byabafasha bikaba byanadufasha kuba twakongera kuntuza ku masoko, kwagura amasoko muri make.
ese ku bijyanye na competition mwatubwiye ko mwebwe impamvu munabona abakiriya mufite ari kubera mufite ibintu bifite quality nziza. Ese hari wenda training muri gukoresha abandi ayandi makoperative kugira ngo nawe baje bahinga basarure ibintu bifite quality nk'iyanyu, cyangwa ni be bikorwa hari ibikorwa mufite mbese muri gukora ubu ngubu byo gushishikariza abagenzi banyu nabo guhinga mu buryo namwe muhingamo?
Ubu buryo bugezweho ni bwiza. Icyambere iyo uhinze imboga zirimo green wabiteguye neza, uba ufite icyizere cy'uko ikirere ntacyo kizakwangiriza, kuko urareba ukuntu ziba ziri mu mazu. Igihe icyo ari cyo cyose muri za mvura nyinshi, wowe wizera yuko amatiyo ari mu butaka azazuhirira udategereje imvura yo mu kirere, kuko yaza inaguyemo ikaziteza ibibazo, kimwe n'ubukoko bwakwinjiramo icyo gihe ziriya ziraburwanya. Hagati aho rero twebwe ka karusho navuze dufite ku butaka, buriya ubutaka bwiza bugusaba ifumbire nke, ikindi n'akazi ntikabe kenshi.
Donc izo nizo mbaraga
mufite? Nizo mbaraga dufite za mbere.
Ese none uretse na cya kintu mwavuzemo cyo kuba wenda mwumva nkaho mutenguha abo mujyanira produce yanyu, kuko mwumva nkaho bujyana bike, ese hari izindi ngorane mujya muhura nazo iyo murimo gukora ubuhinzi?
Muri make ingorane ni nkeya, kuko icyambere dutuye mu mujyi, transport ntitugora. Ikindi cya kabiri icyo navugaga cy'ubutaka cyo kuba ziri muri biriya bizu, nta bukoko bwinjiramo kugira ngo butwangirize. Ayo ni amahirwe tuba dufite nyine kubera kuriya ziba zifunitse. Icyo nari mvuze cy'uko turi mu mujyi bitworohera kugerayo, ntabwo bitugora. Ikindi dukoresha abakozi bafite ubushake, ntabwo ari benshi ariko bafite ubushake, ku buryo mu kubaforoma ntabwo byadutwaye igihe kirekire tubegereje abagronome. Ubu ngubu tubakoresha nabo bameze nk'abagronome, ku buryo ndumva abanyarwanda barutubwishe baza no kutwigiraho kurora ibyo tugezeho.
Kabisa muri intwari, kandi twizere ko abantu barimo kureba n'ikiganiro cyacu bari bubigireho bakajya banahinga kandi nkamwe. Mwakoze cyane kwitabira ubutumire bwacu.
Murakoze cyane.
Well, up to date today's business headlines. Sports news coming up next in just a minute to Arnold Kwizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. I'm Arnold Kwizera. Starting with the Kigali Peace Marathon, elite runner Eric Sebahire holds Rwanda's hopes of winning the Kigali Peace Marathon and ending Kenya's strong run of dominating the race. The 32-year-old Sebahire has represented Rwanda at several international competitions, including at the IAAF World Cross Country Championships in 2011 and 2013, and this year in Guoyang, China, where he finished 46th. At last year's edition, John Damascene Mugabo, a businessman in downtown Kigali, finished 10th in the men's marathon event and was the highest placed Rwandan with the top 9 all Kenyan. For the 2011, 2012 and 2013 editions, no Rwandan made it in the top 10, but Sebahire is confident that he will break the jinx and bring glory to Rwanda and the fans. Sebahire finished 5th in last year's half marathon category, 2 minutes and 9 seconds behind the winner, Sila Limo Kipkombei, a Kenyan. On to tennis, Andy Murray may have deferred over playing the Italian Open, but he confirmed his prime form when he took out Frenchman Jeremy Chardy to reach the third round. The 27-year-old Scot, 2 days away from his birthday, looked extremely sharp over a roasting lunchtime fixture to win 6-4, 6-3 in 84 minutes and claim his 10th successive victory on the clay. Murray had contemplated pulling out of this event to avoid overplaying ahead of the huge 8 weeks that will await him, which will take in the French Open, Wimbledon, and the Davis Cup quarterfinal against France that follows. The world number 3, who is closing on Roger Federer in the rankings after taking the Munich and Madrid titles within 7 days, was left awaiting a match against either Belgium's David Goffin or another Frenchman in Jean-Wilfried Tsonga. Having scored in his side's 1-1 draw clash with Chelsea over the weekend, Steven Gerrard is set to lead Liverpool out for the last time as captain at Anfield when the side take on Crystal Palace on Saturday. The Englishman made his debut for Liverpool in 1998 and went on to score a total of 183 goals in 706 appearances for the Merseysiders. Gerrard led Liverpool to the 2005 Champions League title, winning a total of 10 trophies in his 17 years at Anfield. He is set to join Major League Soccer side LA Galaxy for the 2016 season.
Now, Arnold, Steven Gerrard represents that brilliant generation of English players, the Frank Lampards, the Paul Scholes, the David Beckhams, and he even came a bit after them. But he represents brilliance, he represents Liverpool, he represents England, and he'll forever be remembered, right?
I think Steven Gerrard is the best midfielder, English midfielder of that era. You know, what they call the English golden generation that was coached by Steven Goran Eriksson, that had David Beckham, Frank Lampard, Paul Scholes of Manchester United. Steven Gerrard was the epitome of that midfield. I think so many greats, the likes of Zinedine Zidane, Kaka, Jose Mourinho, have come out to mention him as a player they so much emulated and wanted to have on their teams. Jose Mourinho tried to have him thrice, once at Chelsea, once at Inter Milan, and at Real Madrid as a player. But Steven Gerrard is one of those few players that you're going to have in this era of football, committed to one club for that period of time. He represents what Liverpool stands for, the pride of the Liverpool fans. You know, the attitude of the Merseysiders. He's a homegrown player. You know what he carried this team for so many times. As a Liverpool fan, there are moments I will never forget. One of them being Istanbul in 2005. He led that famous comeback, what AC Milan coach of then Carlo Ancelotti, currently Real Madrid coach, called the madness, the 6 minutes of madness. He scored that great header that capitulated into a great comeback for Liverpool. That same season, the following season, he went on into that FA Cup final against West Ham, scoring 2 great strikes that earned Liverpool a draw and pushing the tie into penalties that were saved by Pepe Reina. Then I think he has been unfortunate not to win a Premier League title. He had 2 great chances in 2009 under Rafael Benitez and last season under Brendan Rodgers. And unfortunately, Liverpool couldn't win the title. It will be sad to see him go out without a title. He wanted to lead Liverpool to the Champions League this season. It won't happen, but he is going to go down as a great legend and a future great manager for Liverpool.
Well, there's nothing else to add after that. He deserves that we only talk about him in this section. Thank you very much, Ronald.
Thank you very much, Regis.
All right, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at news-making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
It's been reported that senior officers have dismissed President Pierre Nkurunziza after weeks of protests following his bid to be re-elected for a 3rd term. Soldiers in Burundi had surrounded the state broadcaster yesterday in the center of the capital, Bujumbura. Major General Godefroy Niyombare announced that the National Salvation Committee had been set up to run the country. However, it is not clear how much support he and the other officers have. President Nkurunziza is currently in Tanzania meeting other East African leaders to discuss the crisis. More on this story to follow throughout the show.
Fred Muvunyi, the chairperson of Rwanda Media Commission, has resigned. The former chairperson of a media self-regulatory body tendered his resignation in an email to the board stating, quote, "I have a pleasure to inform you of my decision to step down as chairman of Rwanda Media Commission. During my tenure, I have enjoyed to work with a brave team like you. It was a short period, but it brought lots of experience and hurdles," end quote. Muvunyi did not specify exact reasons behind his resignation, but the email was sent a day after he and his board were locked in a meeting for several hours. Vice Chair Cleophas Barore will be the interim chairperson pending elections.
The Ministry of Education has begun training on peace education, one of the components of the newly launched school curriculum. The trainees and trainers are being taken through the content and its objectives. REB officials say that the new curriculum covers preschool, primary, and secondary levels, integrates peace education as a cross-cutting course into all subjects. The training aims at equipping trainers with a deeper understanding of content that was incorporated in the revised curriculum under the facilitation of personnel from Aegis Trust. The new education component is a peace-building education initiative and aims at achieving sustainable peace by building social cohesion through the promotion of values such as critical thinking and empathy.
Defense ministers of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region met in Angola to discuss the security situation in the region with a special focus on Burundi, the Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and terrorism. Officials said the ICGLR Chiefs of Defense Staff and Chiefs of Intelligence and Security Services first met in the beginning of the week ahead of the meeting of Ministers of Defense. The meeting precedes the Summit of Heads of State and Government due next Monday in Rwanda, which will consider the report of the meeting of Chiefs of Defense Staff and Chiefs of Intelligence and Security Services, and briefs from defense ministers.
In regional news, 5 people were killed in an attack blamed on Ugandan rebels in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The attack happened at Mavivi close to Beni, a major trading hub around which much of the bloodshed has been centered. More than 300 people have been killed in 7 months of massacres in the troubled North Kivu province by rebels of the Allied Democratic Forces. Officials say that the victims had been coming back from the fields at nightfall when they were set upon by attackers presumed to be from the ADF. And joining us now is Albert Rudatsimburgwa, Great Lakes political analyst. Good morning, Albert. Welcome to the show.
Morning.
All right. So this has been a subject of conversation for over 2 weeks. Everybody's been talking about it. Some will say that it's even lasted longer because the third term debate and discussion has been going on for a while. And now we're hearing that from Bujumbura there's been a coup. Now, can we say it's definitively a coup? And if yes, did this happen unbeknownst of the heads of states that are meeting in Dar es Salaam?
I would say traditionally it's the best time to do the coup when the guy is not around, you know. So that was the window that some people. But you know, it's really important the fact that you just mentioned that it started. In fact, the protest 2 weeks ago, and it was getting intenser every day. Showing also, because in the beginning some people were like, okay, you know, we know this kind of population, after 2 or 3 days they'll be starving and they won't come back. But now what we saw was in fact a momentum that was gaining momentum and more intense every day. Having the women now that really were determined to play even a major role. Yesterday, during that day, they opened up the whole thing. Now, when we could see also that civil population are ready to really to be face to face with people with guns, ready to shoot, to have this kind of even attitude, behavior of wait until they run out of bullets, capture them, beat them, but hand them over to the police. Showing that something was getting to another level, you know, and we have this situation in Burundi that every election has been
violent.
Well, at least ever since the independence, their history, their tradition, Nkurunziza is the very first one that reaches that far without being overthrown by a coup. But now he has pushed just his luck a bit too far because nobody wanted that third term, and everybody said Arusha, Arusha, Arusha. Now the army came out very, very interestingly in the beginning of the crisis by announcing that, you know what, at the end of the day we should all respect Arusha, and the Burundian army is like any other institution. We're born after Arusha, and we should protect Arusha. So they had said they won't tolerate the coup. So people were wondering. Now, let's come back to the main guy, Niyombare. But Niyombare is with the committee. He is a former, also with a former president, Minister of Defense during the Buyoya era. And they have also the strong, let's say the frontliners of the army. They have the commando unit.
You're talking about the army. How much control does the army have of the country as of this moment?
I would say, because I saw also your tweet in there that you were questioning. It would be something that is interesting, but the most important question is how much control do they have of the army? Because that is the real point. Because once you have the army, you don't have rebel groups. Once you have the army, you have the country. You can control but the real question would have been, I think, is how much control do they have of the army? Because in fact, they had this window, and I knew from my contacts there and from different networks that they didn't have everybody on board, but they just say let's go for it. Let's go for it, because we have a very short time to make a decision, and they took that decision, and they didn't have 100% of the army.
That's what I wanted to talk about. When you remember the Bagaza regime and the Buyoya regime, and then what ensued with the democratic elections with Melchior Ndadaye and what followed, there was always that regulator. Back in the days, it was Bikomagu, who was chief of army. Can we say that now we have someone who will speak for the entire army at some point, since there are some divisions here and there?
No, we are definitely in... What we had before were the FAB, the Force Armée Burundaise. Now we have the Burundian Defense Forces that came out of Arusha. That means that in there you do have the regular, the traditional army that we've known in those years. But then you have the rebel groups, and Niyombare is a general that from the CNDD-FDD. This is the guy that was one of the very popular chief of staff, by the way. Then he has been put on the side by that regime, brought back maybe in an idea, a concept, and he replaced Adolphe Nshimirimana at the head of the intelligence. But he is the one that dared to go to the president and say, you know what, boss, here as a party, this is our assessment of if you want to submit a third term, he was the guy that told him, don't do it.
And he's part of CNDD-FDD.
Yes,
what a lot of people don't know.
He's a big gun inside the CNDD-FDD.
Right.
Actually, he came and went in front of the president and told him, CNDD-FDD has all chances to win the next elections without you. If you just step on the side, we have all the chances to keep on the reign of the rule of CNDD-FDD. That's why he was kicked out by Nkurunziza, And from then, they made this petition. 22 personalities of inside the CNDD. In there, you had so many, more than 10 generals. Now, most of those generals have been bought back by the regime. They've been bought back, and they've put Niyombare on the side. But what I can tell you is that Nkurunziza, 24 hours prior to the convention, where he got nominated. No, or a month, well, he had put a bounty on Niyombare's head. He sat in a meeting with a couple of guys, and that is where things started to go.
So that brings me to this question: was this premeditated?
This coup?
Yeah.
This was the only way out. So it wasn't like you could, ever since he's been put aside, and the regime, the president's man, I would say, the king's man around Nkurunziza, they started to see now how they could put those big guys, like they call them les frondeurs, inside, who are contesting the position of Nkurunziza, to put them on the side. But it has been violent. Actually, these guys were on the run.
Now,
they were underground. They were organizing these things by connecting underground,
So this might have been premeditated.
It was premeditated, but only the whole challenge was to understand who can you count
right
on to when you do this thing. Now, even inside that you would think that the ex-Force Armée Burundaise were eventually pro, you never know 100%.
Right.
Then inside there, you also have FNL. You don't have, and then in CNDD-FDD, then you had the majority, I would say, of the people, the troop, the privates and all that, they were pro-Niyombare.
Right.
But then you get officers
right.
and all that, like the Chief General of Staff was pro the third term.
The official government spokesperson of Kenya came out with a statement yesterday saying that they are going to reconvene in 2 weeks as the heads of states.
And the president of Tanzania, who's the chairman of the East African Community, Jakaya Kikwete, also said that the heads of states condemned. That was a statement released by his office that they condemned.
Very normal. There's something very interesting that by discussing that. First of all, nobody knew. And I'm sure President Kagame could not. He's not in Magayane or you know. But what we've seen a situation growing. I was again these people with stones, with defying people in uniform. With you know that gives some power to guys like Niyombare to tell people this is the time.
And Nkurunziza's absence, do you think it was the right move for him to attend the East African Community Heads of Summit meeting?
Well, did he have a choice? Yes, of course, you always have a choice, but it's a risky moment. It's a risky moment. But I heard yesterday, no, the day before, that in fact he wanted to send his VP. He didn't want to go.
And didn't want to go.
So that means he had maybe, you know, something in his, you know.
Telling him, you know, something like that.
Here, you know, what we cannot underestimate that really is another actor that we haven't seen. And that is why I'm against most of the people who are trying to compare Burundi is what happened in Burkina Faso. Completely different situation. Now, the civil society here, the population there, the kind of risk that they've been taking ever since the beginning, that gave ground to
the church came out
and the church.
All right, guys, we can keep chatting about this. We have to wrap up. The voice in my ear is about to kill me.
One thing that is really, really, really important, you know, what is going to be next. And the good thing was at least that the international community has been sending messages, in fact, to all the Burundian, you know, like if somebody's going to take care of this mess, we're fine with that.
Absolutely.
And that is why I think the army also
has
there.
Well, after this situation has been even more clear, hopefully we can have you back to discuss this. Thank you so much,
anytime.
Albert Rudatsimburgwa.
But earlier.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show. All right. Thank you very much. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll be right back after the break.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Lifestyle now. Makeda, what do you have for us?
The movie review.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
Now let's start with the new releases that are coming out tomorrow, actually. So we have Gunman. Okay, you know what? Let's go slowly. Let's go movie by movie. So let's check out the trailer.
Don't you have to go to work today?
I gotta grab some stuff and get out to the site.
Will you work late?
I'm hoping not.
What are you doing over there?
You are the designated trigger, Jim.
Did some bad things. I did some bad things.
Tell me.
We thought we were helping, but it didn't work out that way.
You always worried too much, Jim. The past is the past, my friend.
You keep a diary of the horror we created.
It never happened. That's the way you want to play it? With me? You did your part, I did mine. We all found a way to justify it.
Keep your eyes open, my friend. It's the ones who aren't after you that do you in the end.
What's going on, Jim?
company's clearing house.
You'll have to expose them. It's the one shot you got.
I recorded everything.
I'm gonna throw it out where the world can see it.
Really? Really?
All right, so that's Gunman.
I'm convinced.
Yes, so there is some big stars.
I'm sure all of you
I was about to say it's similar to Taken, then I saw from the director.
From the director of Taken, yeah.
You can tell.
So there's big stars in it. Sean Penn. Sean Penn pretty much doesn't do bad movies, so there you go.
And ladies?
Okay, anyway, there's Sean Penn, there's Javier Bardem, and there's Idris Elba, among other people. All right, not every movie is about the ladies, so...
No, and ladies for Idris Elba, because there's a lot of women that are going to go to the movies
and
just
Javier
because he's in the
really
movie.
good.
Oh, come on.
And who?
And Javier Bardem. Javier. Anyway, so the movie is actually about a sniper on a mercenary assassination team, and he kills the minister of mine in Congo, okay? So, you know, he has to go into hiding because I think someone saw him, and then after that he goes back years later, and he ends up being the target of another assassination group or something like that. Well, I don't know. We have to go and see it.
Or something like that.
Or something like that. You know what? Every time I tell the story, you guys say I'm telling the whole story.
Yeah. So now at least you're keeping a bit to yourself. I like it.
There you go. I'm trying to keep a mystery.
Right. I'm starting to believe that Sean Penn is eternal. 30 years ago, he was doing movies like this.
And
so
he didn't look that different. So,
exactly.
So no, he looks good. He looks young. So, you know, you can check that out. It takes place in Congo. So, you know, if anyone's been to Congo, you can say, maybe, you know, this looks like that place.
If anyone's been to Congo, okay. All right.
Well, we also have our resident, you know, Congolese over here. All right. So the next new release that we have coming out is Mad Max. Let's check it out.
In this wasteland, I am the one who runs from both the living and the dead. A man reduced to a single instinct. Survive.
It is by my hand. You arise from the ashes of this world.
We are not things. We are not things.
Where is she taking them? I want them back. They're my property.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day! Want to get through this? Let's go!
So another action movie for you guys. That one is Mad Max Fury Road, and it's actually a remake of the first Mad Max, which was actually made in, Arnold, you're gonna like this, 1979, all right? So,
you watch it? In 79?
That's not funny, okay? All right, so actually it has Tim Hardy and Charlize Theron, and it's, you know, in a stark desert landscape that, you know, where humanity is broken and, you know, all of that stuff.
Charlize Theron, yo, I'm
Everybody has been
as long as she's in there, I'm good.
So the fact that she had to cut her hair for this role, everyone has been going crazy.
I didn't even know that.
I saw it on social media. Like, everybody's going, did you see the pictures?
No, I haven't seen the pictures.
I saw the pictures, believe me.
But she can rock any look, so it's fine.
Yeah, and she's amazing. She's a great actress. And apparently, you know, they're the two rebels that are going to come and try and save the whole situation and restore order and, you know. Hey, that's all. Hey, come on now. That's enough. What?
He'll still watch it either way. This Charlize Theron. It doesn't matter.
You want me to tell you the end now?
Movie,
I'm going to tell you the end when we get off air.
Can we go into
Just because of that, I'm going to tell you what happens in the end. All right, now let's get to the cult classic. So it's the best
I'm
part.
really loving
And let me
this
tell
cult
you
classic.
why I'm so excited about today's cult classic, because it's one that is so close to my heart. This movie...
You're even using Regis'
that you've been talking about for the past forever.
This movie was my favorite. I only brought it up today, Fifi. Hey. Now listen, I was trying to make the cult classics, you know, something that everyone has kind of seen and stuff like that. But this one I had to do it because it's just been bothering me, the fact that I haven't shared it yet, all right?
You wanted to be selfish.
I wanted to be selfish,
I
you
hope
know?
you liked it.
I hope you like it too. So let's check it out.
Getting to feel free and easy when I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day.
I am king as I was born to be.
Your Majesty, I do not intend to have my boy brought up in a harem.
Who is king here? I remind you, so you remember that. I do not remember any promises. I do not remember anything, except that you are my servant.
No, Your Majesty, that is not true. I am most certainly not your servant. Your Majesty, I beg of you, don't take revenge on this girl. This girl hurt your vanity.
All right, so my cult classic is The King and I. This movie is amazing. I don't want anyone to roll their eyes.
You should point out that she was singing the whole song while the movie was playing.
So let me tell you, this has been my movie pretty much since I was a baby. I loved this movie.
The movie, I saw copyright in 1956.
Does your Twitter handle have something to do with So
okay, the movie has Deborah Kerr, Yul Brynner, and these people are like Rita Moreno. These people are like the Brad Pitts and the Angelina Jolies of the 50s, of my time. And yeah, in the movie, Deborah Kerr, the star, her name is Mrs. Anna, and that's why my name is Mrs. Anna on Twitter. Well, my middle name is also Anna.
No, I've tried to make it. I'm like, Makeda Mahario, Miss Anna.
It doesn't work.
So my name is actually Makeda Anna Mahario, but I just love the movie, so I called myself Mrs. Anna. Anyway, that's not the point, all right? This movie won 5 Oscars in its time. It's been nominated for so many. It is just a really, really good movie. It's a musical. I love musicals. I don't care. I'm cool.
I do too.
Yes.
Don't worry.
I liked. How can I say it on TV?
You're gonna lose your street cred.
I have a street cred to protect.
It's about a widow who's from England, and she accepts a job to go and teach the king of Siam. Siam was, of course, is Thailand now. Before it was Siam. So she goes and accepts a job to teach all the kids of the king of Siam, and he has tons of kids because he had tons of wives. And you know, it's kind of how their relationship transpires and how everything goes. It's so cool. It's such a good movie.
She's talking about it like it was
a
Real Madrid-Barcelona Clasico, you know, like she's passionate.
No, use a term that I would understand.
I can't spend 20 minutes of my
time. Okay, anyway.
Okay, I think
thank you, Fidelis. Now, don't forget, we love to hear what your thoughts are or what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda, and if you love my movie. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook, send us your ideas for programs, comment on our posts, tag us in your photos. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we upload daily. Follow us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We're always posting behind the scenes photos. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website. Well, that's all the time we have for today, and we love to hear your feedback, so please do let us know if you have any ideas for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Shenja. Will be here same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us, and from the rest of this beautiful team over here, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.